Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my marked as to read video for June. Before we get started, I just wanted to take this opportunity to announce the winner of my birthday giveaway. Today is actually my birthday, so happy birthday to me, and my giveaway actually ended last night at midnight, so I just wanted to thank everyone for entering the giveaway. It really means a lot to me, and the winner of the giveaway was Megan S. So congratulations, Megan. I have already sent you an email letting you know that you were the winner. So if you could make sure to respond to that email, make sure you check your spam folder, just in case I've filtered into spam, you never know. That would be great. Congratulations again, and now let's jump into the marked as to read video. So this month, 32 books. I marked 32 books as to read this month. I don't know, you guys. Again, this month, at the start of the month, I wasn't really marking too many books, and I was like, oh, this month it'll be like a much shorter list. And again, somehow I get to this point in the month and I count them up and I'm like, holy crap, 32. So I'm going to try to go through these as quickly as possible. Also, I generally keep a list in my phone of where I heard about books so that I can remember to let you guys know. I accidentally deleted that note. And then when I went into my recently deleted section where the messages go when you delete them so you can recover them, I accidentally deleted it from there instead of moving it back into the normal folder. So I don't have that note, so I will try to give you guys as much information about where I heard about these books as I can, but it may not be as informative as it is usually, so I apologize. But let's just jump straight in because I got a lot of books to talk about. So the first book I marked as to read since my last video is The Graces by Laura Eve. This is actually, I believe I saw it on Instagram, and it is described as being a craft retelling. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I don't even care what anyone else has to say about this book. Like, I'm marking it as to read because I love the craft and I love books about witches, and this just sounds like it's going to be freaking amazing, and it's literally just a thriller that it really does sound like the craft, so I'm really excited for this one. The next book I want to talk about is The Cresswell Plot by Eliza Wass. This is a book that I've seen going around kind of Booktube. I first saw it on Instagram. People have been doing some very interesting unboxings for this book. And again, this just hits one of my major bookish buzzwords, which is cults. I believe this deals with a family, and there's some weird things going on, and they're kind of the weird kids in their town, and then they kind of discover that maybe this cult isn't everything that it says that it is, and then I think the father of the kind of family announces that they are going to be returning to the rest of their family in heaven. So it sounds really interesting, and as I said, it hits one of my major bookish buzzwords, so I can't wait to check this one out as well. The next book I marked as to read is The Good Goodbye by Carla Buckley. This is one that I don't remember too much about, but I believe I saw on Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing's channel, and all I know about it is that it has to do with a fire in a dorm room, and someone has died, but there are two girls who survived, and I think it's got a lot to do with family dynamics and trying to find out what happened with the fire, and lots of family stuff going on because their families are waiting at the ER or something. That's all I really know, but it sounded really interesting, and I believe Eva had good things to say about it, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. The next book I marked as to read was Don't Look Now and Other Stories by Daphne du Maurier. I read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier recently, and I really, really loved it. And this is just another book by Daphne du Maurier that I want to check out, so I went ahead and marked this one as to read. The next book I marked as to read is Edenbrook by Julianne Donaldson. I marked another book by her as to read recently, which is, I believe, Blackmore. And I think this book actually comes before that one in a series, although I'm not 100% sure on that. If anyone has read this series and has any information about that, I would love to hear it. And I believe I saw this on someone's channel and they had really good things to say about it. And it just sounds really intriguing to me. It seems like, I believe these are just like kind of historical romances, and it sounds like the type of books that I would really enjoy. So I marked this one as to read, and I do hope to check the series out at some point in the future. The next book I want to talk about is The Pledge by Kimberly Derting. I believe I saw this one in an article about certain types of books. I cannot remember what that article was or anything about it, but I'm pretty sure that's where I heard about this one. And this one follows a young girl who lives in a society where people are classified by what language they can speak, and she understands all languages, and she, that's like something she has to keep hidden, and that's all I really can remember about it, but it sounded really interesting, and so I definitely marked it as to read because it sounds really intriguing to me. The next book I want to talk about is The Family by Marissa Kennison. This is another book that was from that same article, I believe, and again, this one deals with cults, which I've mentioned before is a big buzzword of mine, although I never usually end up enjoying the books, but I love checking them out, so hopefully this is a good one. The next book I marked as to read is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is just a classic supernatural mystery type of story that I've heard a lot about, and it's one that I've always wanted to check out, and I marked it as to read this month just because I realized I never had. The next book I want to talk about is Nevermore by Kelly Craig. This is a book that I've heard about in the past, but I don't know too much about it. I believe it is a retelling of the Edgar Allan Poe story, The Raven. That's all I really know about it, but it has pretty good ratings on Goodreads. I'm not sure where I heard about it, but something about it this month made me look it up, and I just decided that I would love to check it out in the future, so I marked it as to read. The next book I marked as to read was Sister by Rosamund Lupton. This is a story about two sisters who are very close, and when one sister goes missing, the other one flies to, I believe it's London, where her sister was living to, you know, help look for her sister or, you know, deal with her missing sister. And she slowly discovers that maybe she didn't know as much about her sister's life as she thought. It's kind of a cliche premise, but it is a premise that I generally really enjoy, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out and seeing the twists and turns that this mystery takes. The next book I want to talk about is, again, it may have been in that same article, it may have been in a different article, I'm not sure, but it's called Those Across the River by Christopher Buehlman. I don't really know what this one is about. It's something to do with a man who returns to, like, I don't think he returns, but he moves to an old family plantation or something like that, and there's something creepy going on and something about a blood debt or something like that. It sounds really creepy and sinister, and I really enjoy books that have that kind of creepy, sinister vibe, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out. The next two books I marked as to read are books that I heard about on the Girls from Let's Talk Books channel. It was a video that they did on their favorite indie authors, and the book that I marked, the first one, is New World Rising by Jennifer Wilson. I don't know too much about what this is about. I believe it is a young adult dystopian sci-fi kind of story. That's all I really know about it, but the girls had good things to say, and I have seen I have seen the book mentioned quite a bit, I believe, because I think this is a book that is published by Benjamin of Tome's publishing company, and the girls had good things to say, as I said, so I am really interested in checking it out. The other book that I marked from that video is Lost and Found by Nicole Williams. Again, I don't know too much about what this is about. I think this may just be kind of a bit more of your typical new adult contemporary romance kind of story, but again, they had good things to say about it, and it sounded interesting to me, so it's definitely something I want to check out at some point in the future when I get around to it. The next book I marked as to read is Paperweight by Meg Haston. This is a book that I've actually seen on Booktube quite a bit this month, but the main person who I've heard talk about it a lot is Karis from Karis on Reading. This is one of her favorite books, I believe, and all I really know about it is that it deals with a girl with an eating disorder and depression and issues like that, I think, and it's definitely one that I would like to check out in the future because I like contemporary young adult stories that deal with more heavier issues. The next book I want to talk about is How to Disappear by Anne Radish Stampler. This is a young adult kind of mystery thriller type of story, I believe, about a girl who is suspected of murdering someone, and so she goes on the run, and then there's this boy, I think, who was trying to help her, but he was sent to kill her. I don't really know, it sounds a little bit complicated, but I enjoy young adult mystery thrillers, so it's definitely something that I'll probably check out at some point in the future. The next book I want to talk about is Guilt Hollow by Laurie Langdon. This is a book that I believe is about a girl whose best friend, who I think is a boy, murdered someone, or is believed to have murdered someone at least, and he has been in some kind of reform school or something like that, and he returns to the small town where she lives, and it just all kind of kicks off from there. That's all I really know, but that sounds very intriguing to me. The next book I marked as to read was Frayed by Kara Terzis. Again, I believe this is a young adult mystery thriller kind of story that deals with, I believe, a girl investigating her sister's murder, or at least her death. And again, I just really enjoy stories of that nature, so it's definitely one, again, that I would like to check out in future. Next we have This Is Our Story by Ashley Elston. And this is a story about 5 boys who went hunting together, 5 teenage boys, but only 4 of them come back. One of them is killed, and I believe the story just follows trying to uncover what happened on that hunting trip. And I think the main character is a teenage girl who is doing like extra credit work or something at the DA's office, and she kind of starts delving into it. It sounds really interesting. This is one, I'm not going to lie, that the cover actually initially kind of drew me in, but it definitely sounds like something that could be a really good time. The next book I want to talk about is I'll Meet You There by Heather Demetrios. This is a book that I've seen a lot on Booktube, and it's a contemporary story again, and I believe it deals with a girl kind of stuck in her hometown, I think, after she graduates high school, and a guy who has returned from Afghanistan, but he has lost a leg, and their kind of romance story, I think. I'm really sorry because I lost that note. I know someone spoke about this month, and what they said about it is what drew me in to mark it as to read, because kind of your more lighter, fluffier contemporary stories don't capture my attention generally. But what they had to say about it just made it sound like maybe this really did delve into some much more important, deeper issues, and it sounded like something that I would like to check out. The next book I want to talk about is The Bookseller by Cynthia Swanson. This book follows a woman who, I think this is set in the 60s, and she is kind of living a single life. She works in a bookstore, etc. And she starts having these dreams every night about this entire other existence where she is married and has children, and things kind of get very complicated. I think in the story you're not sure which is her real life, which is a dream. It sounds really, really interesting, and I really enjoy stories kind of like that where you're not sure what is truth and what is a lie and what is reality. So it's definitely something that sounds really intriguing. The next 2 books I marked as to read I heard about on Reagan from Peruse Projects channel. The first of those is The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. This is a story that follows a guy named Harry August who, I believe every time he dies, he is reborn, but he remembers all his previous lives and he knows that this is happening. I can't remember exactly what the hook is with the storyline, but I know that's the general premise of the story, and I've heard good things about it, and I had wanted to read it, so I marked it as to read this month. And the main thing that made me mark it as to read was another book by Claire North that Reagan was talking about, which is The Sudden Disappearance of Hope, I believe it's called, and it follows a girl who, as soon as you're not looking at her or like engaging with her for more than 20 seconds, you just forget about her. Everyone forgets about her. And there's some other hook again with this one. I think she might be trying to solve some murders or something like that. But again, they just sound really, really intriguing with the different like kind of abilities that these characters have. And Reagan has had really good things to say about both books, so I'm really looking forward to checking them both out. The next book I want to talk about is That Night by Chevy Stevens. This is a book, again, it's just, I think, a young adult kind of mystery thriller book, but it sounds extremely interesting. I believe I saw this on Richard from Books and Bullshit's channel, and I think this follows a girl who, her and her boyfriend were convicted of murdering her younger sister. That's all I really know about it. I think it might be about her trying to clear her name because she didn't murder her sister or something. I don't really know, but that sounds extremely intriguing to me, and I definitely want to check this one out. The next book I marked as to read is The Imposter Queen by Sarah Fine. This is a fantasy story, I believe, that follows a girl who was picked to succeed the queen, and when the queen dies, all her magic is supposed to travel to the new queen, and the queen dies, but her magic does not go to this girl, and that's what I really know about it. I think the story kicks off from there, but it sounds really interesting. Again, someone this month spoke about it and had good things to say about it, but I lost that note, so I don't know who it was, but it definitely sounds intriguing. The next book I want to talk about I saw over on Riley Marie's channel, and it is called Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerall, and it follows a girl who I think is set in a fantasy world, and she was raised by the king's bounty hunter, and so she's like kind of a badass female from what I can tell, and she is however, caught poaching in the King's Forest or something like that. And that is a something that's punishable by death, I think. But they offer her a deal that if she hunts down her father's killer, then they will spare her life. However, the main suspect to be her father's killer is a boy that she once loved. I don't know, it sounded really interesting. It may be a little cliche perhaps, I'm not too sure. I haven't read it obviously, but I do want to check it out because I think it could be a good one. The next book I want to talk about is called Velvet by Temple West. This book actually sounds extremely cliche. It is a young adult story about a girl who discovers that her hot next door neighbor is a vampire. As I said, it sounds extremely cliche, but I think I saw this on a blog post about the best scenes from dances or something like that in books, and this book was mentioned on that, and it actually has really good ratings on Goodreads. So I don't know if that's because, I don't know why, obviously, but I don't know, it kind of intrigued me and I quite like the cover, so I do want to check it out at some point. The next book I want to talk about I've seen going around on Booktube a lot in the past month, and that is And I Darken by Kirsten White. Literally all else I know about this is that it is a gender-swapped Vlad the Impaler retelling. That sounds extremely intriguing. Again, I think this is a fantasy story. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but this one sounds really intriguing, and I've heard good things about it, so I'm definitely interested in checking it out. The next book is another one that I've seen going around Booktube quite a bit, and that is The Girls by Emma Cline. This deals with two of my favorite things, cults and friendship themes. That is enough for me to pick it up. It sounds extremely intriguing, and I can't wait to check it out. The next book I want to talk about is one that I'm extremely excited for. I saw this book on an article called 14 Books Being Released This Summer for Fans of Stephen King. The book is called My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I'm just going to read you guys the little blurb in the article because this sounds amazing. It says, a heartwarming story of friendship and demonic possession. The year is 1988. A high school sophomores, Abby and Gretchen, have been best friends since 4th grade. But after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches its terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question. Is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? Like an unholy hybrid of Beaches and The Exorcist, My Best Friend's Exorcism blends teen angst, adolescent drama, unspeakable horrors, and a mix of 80s pop songs into a pulse-pounding supernatural thriller. Holy crap, that sounds amazing. I have read Horror Store by Grady Hendrix and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite. But this book sounds 100% up my alley. I cannot wait to check it out. I believe it was released in May and I'm so excited to read it. The next book I want to talk about is another one I'm really excited for, and that is Security by Gina Walsdorf. And this is like kind of a slasher novel about people who are setting up this new hotel or something like that, but they all start getting killed off one by one. And that on its own is enough for me to mark it as to read. But this is inspired by Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It's a book that I absolutely freaking loved, so I cannot wait to check this one out because I just think I'm really going to love it. The next book I marked as to read is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. I was actually looking at Sam Claflin on IMDb because I love Sam Claflin, and I saw that one of his upcoming projects was a movie called My Cousin Rachel. When I realized that that movie was based on a book by Daphne du Maurier, I immediately marked that book as to read because I want to read the book and see the movie, obviously. I don't really even know what the book is about off the top of my head, but I want to read it. And the final book that I marked as to read this month was Sleep No More by April Lynn Pike. This is a book that I actually saw on the Mystery Corner, and it sounds really, really intriguing. This is a story that follows a girl who is an oracle. She has premonitions about the future, but she has always been taught to fight those visions, that there are severe consequences for giving into those visions and like having anything change because of those visions. However, there is a murderer going around her school murdering students, I think, and she keeps having premonitions about it. and the story just kind of goes from there. It sounds super intriguing and definitely up my alley, so I'm really excited to check that one out. So that is the ridiculous amount of books that I marked as to read in the month of June. I don't even know what to say, you guys. I seriously have a problem. I apologize that this video is probably super long. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it and you found some books to mark as to read yourself that sound intriguing. If you have any more recommendations for me, comment down below. I'd love to chat with you guys if you have any thoughts about any of these books, if you've read them or if you're really excited for them. Just love to chat to you guys in the comments down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.